I watched Terence Crawford become undisputed champion while behind bars. Now I'm fighting to regain world title after robbery. Oshaquie Foster was just 12 years old when, alongside his brother in the family home, he watched his mother Christy Williams die of cancer. My biggest motivation when I started fighting, I wanted to bring the title belts to my mother, he once said. Williams' death at the tragically young age of 31 deprived him of the chance to ever do so. Instead, on the day of her funeral, he fought not only grief but other amateur fighters in the process of winning one of his 2 Golden Gloves. It's something my mother would have wanted me to do, he also said. It's a path that I have to follow. I'm already making my mother proud, and after I win, hopefully, she'll be happy. Williams had named her son Oceanique, but when the master of ceremonies on his amateur debut announced him as Oshaquie, it stuck. In the years since, he was later brought up with 10 other siblings in the home of his paternal grandmother Evelyn Foster. He has also come to be known as Ice Water or Shock, but, as he put it, one thing has remained consistent: boxing was my escape. Foster's natural talents were such that, as an amateur, he came within 3 points of a victory that could have taken him to the 2012 Olympic Games, but those talents were also ultimately almost squandered. Having turned professional in September 2012, he recorded 8 successive victories before losing to Samuel Tia in November 2015 and, 3 fights later in July 2016, Rolando Canella. It was days before the defeat by Canella that his cousin Jimmy Franks, with whom he had long been particularly close, was killed after being shot in the head in their hometown of Orange, east of Houston, Texas. Inside and outside of the ring, Foster was on the verge of losing his way. In 2017 he was accused of attempted murder, and when that charge was reduced to aggravated assault he was imprisoned in Houston's Harris County Jail, where he spent 4 months. I was in a 12-man unit, no security guards, just you, the walls and the other inmates, he said in 2023. You lose all control. That wasn't my first time being locked up, but they wouldn't bond me out, because they said I was a flight risk. The area of the prison to which Foster was referring was known as the Block. There were brick walls and no windows, and when in April 2017 Hurricane Harvey reached Houston, the prisoners there weren't evacuated and were instead forced to endure being locked up without power for what Foster remembers as between 1 and 2 weeks. Living in the dark for such a lengthy period affects the senses. The only light Foster and his fellow inmates saw came when the prison guards delivered meals via flaps in the door, presenting their sanity with an additional test. You've really got to be strong, he once remembered. Guys were kicking the ceiling like trying to get something open. They were banging on walls, just going crazy. Before Foster's release from prison, the great Terence Crawford fought Julius Indongo for the undisputed super lightweight title, won inside 3 rounds, and proved himself a fighter of the very highest caliber. Foster, while locked up, had managed to watch. It was with a stoppage that December of Andrew Goodrich that Foster's life, and career, started to be rebuilt. There followed a further 8 victories before, in February 2023, he won the vacant WBC super featherweight title by earning a unanimous decision over Ray Vargas. He then dramatically defended it that October by stopping Vargas' fellow Mexican Eduardo Hernandez in Cancun, Mexico, when behind on the scorecards and with only 22 seconds remaining of the 12th and final round. The statement Foster made vastly grew his profile, and yet it proved his last fight under Matchroom, who he then left to sign with Top Rank. On Saturday at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino in Verona, New York, Foster and Conceição fight for the second time. A lot of times, people get robbed, and they don't get the rematch, the 31-year-old said. I'm fortunate to get that rematch, and I'm looking to let my hands go more. I want the biggest fights. We've got the Emmanuel Navarrete-Oscar Valdez fight on December 7th. So, I feel like it will line up.